My all-time favorite episode of The Simpsons is the one where Bart is being threatened by Sideshow Bob, and he distracts him. And yes, that's my all-time favorite one. So good.
For he himself has said it, and it's greatly to his credit, that he is an Englishman. Could have been a Russian, a Frank or Turk or Persian, or perhaps Italian. But in spite of all temptations to belong to other nations, he is an Englishman. And that's what he's...
Okay.
So that's, you know, HMS?
Oh, right, yeah.
Gilbert and Sullivan.
That's right, yes.
And he gets him to play the whole thing.
Yeah, the entire thing.
Sing the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, which is a weird parody of both that and Cape Fear simultaneously.
That's right, I remember that, yes.
Yeah. Hey, Bart, look at my chainsaw and mask I just got.
Yeah.
I miss the old Simpsons.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the new Simpsons, so I don't know if
I wouldn't even... Yeah, I haven't seen a new one in like... 10 years. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, we can get going. Hold the mics like a little bit up, and we'll be perfect.
How close do we need to be? Like right on it, or?
Like 6 inches. If
Oh,
you
really?
can,
Okay.
yeah. 6 inches is good. All right. Courtney, Conrad, Sam, Bluebloods, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Hey.
Here's to
Thank you for the
drinking on a
burst.
Sunday.
Cheers,
Yeah, on a
at a
Sunday.
distance. Yeah.
It's proper setup. You got a nice bar over here.
Thank you.
Hospitable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like to set the vibe.
Yeah. I like to, you know, if I'm doing podcasts, I like to drink.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just like shows, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kidding.
That's how you conduct all your interviews.
grocery shopping.
It's like, I became a musician to become an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Chicken or the egg type situation, I think.
Yeah, it is hard not to. Or it's like you're playing last, right? You're at a bar, and you have like 4 hours to kill at a bar. Like, what the hell else are you gonna do?
Yeah,
It takes one time of learning the hard way, and you won't do it again.
You just spend like the $50 you make from the, you know, your show on alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. How was you guys' recent show, the album show?
It was super fun.
There?
I wasn't there.
Shame upon your family. It was really good. You should have been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were missed, but no, it was fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the culmination of years of sweat, tears, and blue bloods. And yeah, I mean, it was, you know, you think it's going to be some big revelatory moment, but it was just a show like any other show. And yeah, it was fun. Do you want to talk about the album?
Yeah. Do it.
Yeah, go. Do your thing.
Over to you, Conrad.
No. I mean, I've already done enough, spilt enough words, so I'm...
Yeah, so the show, I'll just start with the show and work my way backwards. The show was fun. It was a relief to have it over in some ways. You know, like, you spend a lot of time over the culmination of an album cycle trying to, like, think towards what the release is going to be and what the final product is and all of that. And as you get closer to that happening, it sort of becomes increasingly exhausting because you've been thinking about this one thing for so long.
Yeah.
So I'd say it was like relieving and satisfying to just
also,
have
like,
that happen.
Didn't we like resisted the constant urge to like rush or force things with the album? I think because there were multiple moments at which we would set dates and we'd be like, actually, this deserves the time, whatever. And so by the time that we actually did it, and I don't mean this in like a derogatory way, but it kind of almost felt anticlimactic. You know what I mean? Because it just like there's so much buildup, and then.
Then you're like, where are all the record labels?
Yeah.
Where are the legions of fans? Yeah. I'll have a grand report due. Yeah. Which is really what I should be writing right now when I'm here doing.
It's due January 22nd.
Yeah. Canada Council, I'm sorry. Yeah, shout out to Canada Council. We haven't been shouting them out enough, so we'll just shut them out here.
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks to Canada Council.
The opening bands were also amazing at the
Yeah.
show, I want to say.
Yeah.
That was something that was like Ingia seeing her for the first time and like with a live band was really special. And
Ali
as
won
well.
Kenobi,
Yeah.
Yeah, we were very lucky with the musicians we've worked with, and we usually are with a lot of the musicians we do shows with in the city. So it's a great city. Sam's been working in Toronto for years, and
Oh yeah.
he's been dragged back temporarily to Winnipeg to for various reasons, including
Mostly
Bluebloods.
just to release this record.
Mostly just.
And my partner, I love you, Michaela.
I was like, you better say what you.
Yeah.
What are you up to in Toronto?
Being a musician and doing a PhD in music.
PhD in music.
Yeah.
Sick. What's your thesis?
This is gonna be the most boring podcast ever. I swear to God. I'm researching interaction and attention. So just like I'm a jazz musician by training and trade. So I look at the ways that jazz musicians pay attention to each other and then respond to each other, much in the same way that we're having this conversation right now.
Neat.
Cool.
I actually didn't know that. I've never asked.
Yeah, you never asked.
I've literally never asked.
Aren't we
That's so
friends,
weird.
Courtney?
I guess. I was just like, I love you, but I don't care about your dissertation.
No, that's okay. And honestly, that's an unspoken rule: is don't ask people who are in the midst of writing their dissertation what their
feels
dissertation
jinxy.
is about.
I don't want to jinx it.
Well, you know.
Except when he's doing the Bluebloods, we make songs where CJ talks about pooping himself. So
Two separate times.
two separate songs.
Two references
CJ
to pooping his pants.
has made to talk about shitting himself.
To the point where I feel like it needs to continue. Like, if he
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah, we got a
make
theme
more
now.
allusions to pooping himself, I'll be worried.
Ice Spice, like her career dropped off because she kept talking about pooping herself, but I think CJ's career is just he's gonna
He
coast
just
on
has
that.
this like certain something that makes it sets it apart.
CJ, Sam, didn't you ask him like why he kept talking about pooping himself in his music?
That doesn't seem like a question I would ask CJ.
He did. He said, CJ, why do you keep talking about shitting yourself? And CJ's like, I shit myself 6 months ago. And then Sam was like, why? And CJ was like, you can't trust nobody no more, not even a fart. So I thought,
I mean, if it's a topical thing for him, it's on the brain, then it's going to come out in the raps.
his ops, operate in silence.
Yeah, they're
Silent but deadly.
They're cunning and sly.
Silent but deadly.
Can't trust him.
Yeah. Anyway, CJ is. It's too bad he's not here. He's not a member of Bluebloods, but he frequently performs with us. CJ the Grey. He's a rapper. He's from northern Manitoba, from Cross Lake, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Shout out CJ. We're just joking around.
Yeah. I also can tell you with absolute certainty we did not say anything he would not say himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to the studio and rapped about pooping, so like we're not telling any
willing
secrets.
to share it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just recorded a song with him, but he did not talk about pooping in
Period.
that song.
Growth, human growth.
Yeah.
Love to see
Yeah.
it.
I know it's one of
Is
the
it growth though?
Not talking about pooping yourself?
Yeah.
See, I just think it would be like funny.
It's mature to revel in your immaturity.
It's mature relevant in your maturity. Yeah, that's tautological. As a philosophy major, you should know that.
Tautological?
Yeah.
Don't
Have I
get them
heard
so
this?
they're not allowed. No. They're not allowed
not
to speak
tautological.
philosophy in the band podcast.
That's true. I tried to bring it towards poop.
Yeah, you're right. You did a good job. You're right.
I did my job.
What does tautological mean?
Oh, here we fucking go.
Arguing in a circle.
I have to.
A equals A.
E equals A?
A equals A.
Oh.
Like
I got
it's like in logic.
So
Formal
like,
logic.
okay. And what did we say was tautological?
Reveling in your maturity is mature.
Immaturity.
Oh, immaturity. I see. No, that's not tautological. I'm
Anti-tautological.
I'm stupidological. I'm unlogical. Illogical.
Someone's not doing a PhD.
Very true.
What would you guys do your PhD in?
Courtney, you first.
Oh, girl. The way I would never step into an education system ever again for any reason. So can well, I had like 6.5 years of post-secondary school and did not get my degree, and like no one's ever asked me. And to be honest, like as a gigging musician, no one's been like, hey, so can I see that piece of paper first? Like no one cares.
Yeah.
But I guess if I had to, even though I think school is a scam that no one should do.
Whoa.
Shots fired.
No, I don't mean that mostly. But I think what would I do? I don't know. Something vocally, you guys.
You gotta come
I just don't know.
something.
I have a very good friend who she's a vocalist, very talented vocalist, and she did a PhD in music in making fart sounds with her mouth.
Whoa.
So-
Like a trumpet?
Came together.
See what I said about school being a scam doesn't sound so stupid now, does it?
I tried to steer away from academia towards pooping, and Sam just brought them together.
They're always
That's what I'm saying. There's
That's-
maturity and
So-
immaturity.
So that's dialectics for you, you know?
That's right.
To use another good lame philosophy term.
We always come back to philosophy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Courtney.
It's fine. Everyone gets one pass. You've used it both. Both of you have used it. So any philosophy talk
So
moving
you
forward.
wouldn't do a PhD in philosophy?
No, I certainly would not. No.
And what
But
would-
making fart sounds with your mouth.
No, I wouldn't do that either.
All right.
No, I don't know. That's what I don't. I just simply don't know.
Courtney's a bit of a weeb, so you could probably do it in something anime related.
Why would I do that?
I have another friend who's
she
doing a
won't-
PhD
won't even do a
in
PhD.
gamer girls.
Oh, I
See,
met
you
that
guys,
girl.
I
I
think-
met that girl.
I
Yeah.
think maybe I just don't like the idea of getting a PhD. I don't think it
Fair
sounds
enough.
very silly indeed. If it has to do with fart sounds and weeboos.
What would you do your PhD in?
Oh, good question. I really. It's such a commitment to learn about something so specific. I feel like it would be music. It would be probably lyrical,
Okay.
like, yeah, poetry leaning.
Would it be like? Would you analyze lyrics in poetry? Or,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that would be what I would hit.
Hell yeah.
Oh no,
Save
that's
us on your
great.
mind. Save us on your
That's
mind.
good. Oh, it just you. I got into a master's program once. I didn't do it, and they were going to pay for my master's. It was in cultural studies, and it was like there was like Canada count. No, it wasn't Canada Council. It was the Shirk. You know, the other
Social sciences,
source of
humanities, research.
government. Yeah,
consortium.
exactly. We're all used to the government largesse from the Canada Council. If you're an academic, it's Shirk. Anyway, I was like, they were going to pay for my degree, and my end of the bargain was that I had to become a research assistant. And I asked them what they wanted me to research, and I was supposed to help this professor, and it was fairy tale themed pornography. That's what they wanted
That's
me to.
crazy.
Yeah. In the end, I
So-
didn't do the program. You know.
And so, what would the research entail?
I mean, I guess I would have been sitting in the library, like looking at a lot of pornography,
Right.
which is something I avoid doing.
Public porn consumption
Yeah.
seems immoral.
Yeah, don't look at a lot of porn in the library. You know, very little. Yeah.
And who's this guy that's his thing? I mean, I guess.
It was not a guy; it was a woman, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know what? Shout out,
Don't say shout out women. I'll kill you.
shout out women.
Most of the researchers that I know who are investigating porn are women.
Huh?
I guess that kind of adds up
You think
for
so?
me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like
dudes
a-
are just degenerate. They're not interested in it in like
A social
philosophically.
scientific.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I didn't know there was such a thing as fairy tale themed because I don't look at pornography.
You've never heard of Rule 34?
What is this?
Oh, if it
Joe's gone
exists,
on
then
about
there
Rule
exists a porn
34.
of it. Is basically the rule.
That's
that it
Rule
is.
34?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So any concept you can possibly conjure, there's probably porn out there of it. Is the rule?
I see.
Yes.
I feel like that's
Of course,
true.
as a very chaste woman myself, I would know, but
Right.
exactly. None of us are educated in such a thing.
I was talking about poop porn. What other third rail can we
This is
find?
not actually typical.
What do they usually talk about in this podcast?
Apart from poop and porn, I don't even.
Did we
That's like most
accidentally
of it.
come on the poop and porn podcast? Shit.
The Poop and Porn Podcast.
That's the
PP
ring.
for short.
PP, yeah.
Oh, triple P, actually.
PPHD. Do you know what PhD stands for?
Post.
Keep going. It's
It
not
is
that, but I want
okay.
to finish it. I want to see what you come up with.
Professional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
What is it?
Sam, what is it? What is it?
I was a philosophy doctor.
See? Can't get away from it.
Oh.
Even a PhD.
So when you
is-
get a PhD,
We
you're
have,
a
like-
doctor of philosophy in X.
Oh, right.
So like doctor of philosophy in
Interesting.
Yeah.
in literature or in physics, which is sort of like a weird, confusing one. But
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like theoretical.
that's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, hopefully you're not doing a practical PhD in pornography or poop. You know, or gamer girls. Like it's
Well, you know,
theoretical.
that is a thing. You know, research creation that exists.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
It's a viable avenue
Participant
for research.
observation, you know.
Or just actually creating a work.
Huh. You have to create work for your PhD, don't you?
Yeah, sort of. I have to write compositions. Yeah. And then perform them.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Sam has a whole like I know we're kind of in the gutter here, but Sam has a whole other jazz practice that he does that's very separate from Bluebloods.
It's not so separate. I mean, it's sort of separate. But philosophically, it feels connected. Yeah.
There's like a bunch of like little references, not a bunch, several little references to philosophers in like the older lyrics of Bluebloods, which is why I'm always like, here we go, blah, 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 blah. Because it's kind of is intertwined into the band. It's not like I like actually hate it, but I've made like jokes about it in the past. So that's
It's
why.
good that, we need to be made fun of.
Well, you
know,
gotta, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna quote Nietzsche in your lyrics, you're gonna be a little needing humbled.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So happy to be that
Also, my
person.
favorite book is Infinite Jest. Just kidding.
No, but to be fair, you were the song was parodying an incel who quoted, and so that was why you mentioned Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Because he's like the incel philosopher.
Well, I didn't
now.
mention him.
No, you
No,
just,
but that's why you like. There's a reference to him. Like in some sense, you were parodying that tendency.
Yes,
So,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't help it. Like we're just a bunch of bourgeois art school kids. Just kidding.
I'm not.
She's
I'm not
definitely
even
not.
graduated.
That's true. Can you tell them where you're from?
Of course I can. Yeah, I grew up in North Dakota.
Okay.
I don't know if you know where Minot is.
No.
It's like 3 hours south of Brandon, like a straight shot south of Brandon.
I've
And
probably been through there then.
probably
Yeah.
at least once for sure. But my town was like a half an hour south of Minot, and it was very tiny. It was like 400 people, including farmsteads. So like the class below me had like 7 people. My class had 14 people. All of them I knew since like kindergarten to grade 12. And yeah, it was very small, and everyone knew everyone and their mom and their aunt and their hairdresser and their accountant. And
I'm just picturing like Dawson's Creek or, like
I
some
was
other
not
random...
nearly as romantic as anything
Okay.
like that. It
Right.
was very, it was like, playing beer pong and Quonsets and like the fun thing to do is go to the movies.
Right.
And that's kind of it.
And then there's a bunch of Rust Belt roosters everywhere.
Oh, wow, yeah. And like booze cruises were a thing back in my day. So like people would like get a bottle of Malibu rum and pass it between the back, as they drive around, which is horrifying in hindsight. But
Not like a pub crawl.
no, I was like 15. They wouldn't let me in the damn pub.
Word.
But yeah,
places you go when you're like-
I grew up in a really backwoods kind of like trenches, and then moved to Fargo and was culture shocked by Fargo. I was like, there's a crap ton of people here. Oh my god. And only was there for like 2.5 years, and then moved here, and then was like
You went
culture
to,
shocked as fuck.
You went to like the metropolitan center of Fargo, and then
It's basically just like Fargo turned up to 11. There's way more like culture here, way more diversity.
Winnipeg is Fargo turned.
Oh,
up to
sorry, that's
11.
what I meant.
Okay.
Yes, Winnipeg. But yeah, like it's pretty similar in hindsight. Now that I've lived here for almost 11 years, it's like probably the closest I could have moved to a big city while retaining like the style of life I grew up around, I guess. But yeah.
And did you move here for school initially?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's just I'm just interested. Obviously, Courtney and I have talked about this a lot, but like that desire to always be in a bigger city for music, and obviously, it makes sense that you came from Winnipeg given your surroundings. But then people from Winnipeg are like, we got to move to Toronto, and people from out of Toronto are like,
Right.
we got to move to New
Well,
York.
there's
LA.
always somewhere else you could be
know.
going. It just depends on like.
And then the people in New York and LA are like, I gotta get to Berlin.
Yeah, literally.
I need to like, this place is a
I
hellhole.
was
It's like
fuck this.
too
I'm
expensive.
going back to Winnipeg or Brandon. They get like burnt out of from the big. cities.
Occasionally that happens, yeah.
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 Yeah, and that's a good question. Like, do you have to? What's the appropriate size to be in if you're a musician?
I just like was lucky enough to have gotten work right away when I moved here. Like I made friends basically with musicians immediately. Very lucky. I guess that's what school kind of does. Like it's just
Right.
like free networking essentially. So
It's not free.
no, it's very. Oh my god, you're so right. It's
There's an enormous
incredibly
cost.
expensive networking. Fuck.
What it costs you being in school as an American?
Oh, very forward question you're asking me on this day in public. A lot of money.
How tall are you? How much do you weigh?
The way I just told you I'm an American and you should not be making such jokes. I could be armed. You would have no idea. Anyway, I feel like now, instead of the Nietzsche quotes with the lyrics, we're getting more of the like me talking about like, the booze cruises and the So like the 2 new songs that we released are like kind of like sister songs, and the lyrics are about like some guy that like is rough around the edges and like is low-key embarrassing to be around sometimes, but is like very lovable.
First one, me.
And I feel like I grew up around a lot of those people. Yeah.
That's the Rust Belt rooster in question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like I don't know, kind of rude and tactless and rough and tumble, but like probably if you called them at 3 a.m. and asked them for a favor, he would do it.
Is that a Midwestern thing?
No, not really. Like I've since met a lot of like really. I think I'm gonna say it. I'm saying it. It's an American thing.
You think so?
Yes.
You don't think that there's similarities between that character and some of the people that you've met here?
In Winnipeg, in the city, no. Maybe in small towns that I've been briefly exposed to, but I've been lucky enough to have so many like just like really great, even if they're good old Manitoba boys, they're sweet and like, there's an element of tact and decorum to the way that they carry themselves, and I never hear them really say anything on that. But I, again, like made friends with people who like have very, very, very similar, I don't know, vibes and tendencies to me, and I'm not like that at all. I would not be rough and I'm like pretty agreeable.
So Sam's been in Toronto for the past 5 years?
8
years. So I think like he comes back to Winnipeg and he sees like the uncultured boors that were salt of the earth and rough around the edges but have a good heart, and he sees Rust Belt roosters everywhere here. Whereas like no, I don't know, maybe
maybe you're like projecting a little bit, but
but I'm saying maybe it's all relative, what a Rust Belt rooster is.
Sure. I think that that's probably true. I think it's like, maybe I have a different take on exactly what a Rust Belt rooster means, and I think that Courtney was very evocative and like compelling with the way that she painted the characters in the lyrics. But when I initially conceived of the idea of a Rust Belt rooster, I sort of think of like a good old boy, like somebody who's like, rough around the edges, probably not the most like politically correct person at all, but ultimately like is basically decent and will go to bat for you. And I think that there's a lot of Canadians like that across the board. I know like my parents are from the East Coast and they still live there, and I know lots of people like that there, and I know lots of people like that in Toronto, like from the country who have found their way into the city. There's no shortage of people from the suburbs or from like small towns in Ontario who come in for school, and that's a part of the culture. Like, and that's part of the culture here, and that's part of the culture in Alberta. It's just part of Canadian culture as much as it is, I think, just Midwestern culture. Canada is sort of the Midwest,
an extension
all across the board, if you really think about it, except for Vancouver. They're all kind of weird.
True.
You heard it for here.
Yeah.
F Vancouver. No.
Oh, I did say that. It is weird. But I think that like the discerning factor of like what would just like be a Rust Belt rooster versus just like kind of a douche would be like the effort to not be offensive. Like they know that they're like rough around the edges, but they don't necessarily want to be. It doesn't bring them joy to be edgy.
Okay.
They just maybe grew up in a small town, that kind of thing.
We said we'd avoid philosophy. I think we're philosophizing now about what the Rust Belt rooster is.
Yeah, what's the platonic ideal of the Rust Belt rooster?
1 and 2. And there is a bit of like a Midwestern theme in our record. And I don't know that it'll always be a preoccupation for us, but certainly with this record, we were thinking a little bit about regional identity and what it meant to be, from the prairies, from the Midwest, and they're like being part of so-called flyover country, which is often kind of overlooked or mocked, and and we have mixed feelings about what it means to be from the Midwest in some way, or from the prairies, and even among ourselves, here we're debating about some of these archetypes in our albums and our record and what they mean to us.
Yeah.
I think of the Rust Belt rooster as sort of a picaresque character, like a
define picaresque.
I think of him as being just as you guys said, except maybe like I'm a little bit more affectionate towards him. Like he's there's a few famous Canadians I can think of who maybe it's better just to like think of examples of
Sure.
of a
I
Rust
would
Belt
like to
rooster.
hear who you picture.
I think in Winnipeg you have you have Smokey Tiger, who's a real Rust Belt rooster. And that guy has
Totally,
been,
absolutely.
that guy's been embracing being Manitoban forever. And there's like, he's a beautiful guy, you know, but he's, I don't know if I should tell the story.
Don't tell stories.
I
Don't tell
usually
stories.
do.
Don't tell stories. Don't tell stories. Don't tell stories. Any amount of trepidation means no. Any trepidation means no.
I'm telling it. I remember one time.
You should just punch him in the shoulder aggressively until he shuts up.
Well, okay. But how am I going to convey? Like, how would you convey?
Well, just give us a few more examples.
Yeah.
I think Mac DeMarco is a Rust Belt rooster.
Yes, I would agree with that
I
as
think
well.
he's the most, and everyone's been talking about Mac. He's in town. He, graced us with his presence, and the lore was just never going to end. Every party you go to, everyone's telling their Mac stories. But in that he embodies a certain image of what it is to be kind of a provincial Canadian, but he's turned it into performance art. He's added like a degree of poetry to it and sensitivity to it. And I think he's maybe the most successful example of that kind of archetype, if you will. Smokey rides around in a van and like opens the door and like plays his psychedelic Tom Waits,
Whatever
synth
you call
music.
it.
Yeah. The story about Smokey Tiger is just something to do with Earwid. It was just a funny story. I saw his name on Earwid one time, and I knew it was the same Smokey Tiger, because there's only one Smokey Tiger.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, I think in some sense it's a working class male, and who maybe isn't that politically correct, but and who's like then that's like a weird figure in our culture right now.
And I also want to. I think it's kind of interesting to add that I was really, really, really like. We had disagreements for a long time about what the person looked like, because I have had nothing but like bad experiences, basically, or like had like a very negative lens of what that, like when they first started describing this, I was like, I know him and I hate him. Why would I want to write anything? Like there are like a couple people that I went to school with, and immediately as they were saying it, I was like, yep. I know that guy. Yep. But I also have good memories with those people as well. The bad memories maybe were the ones that overtook the good. But when you think of like a working class, like a labor class man, especially a white one
man from
the Midwest, like my mind goes to a very negative place. And it's not just because of like what's going on right now in my country and how conservative my area is, but it's actual personal anecdotal from the time I made memories until the time I left experience, So I really was like, do we want to be painting this guy in a positive light? But then I started thinking about how many people now, since I've like, my prefrontal cortex has formed and I've moved to a place where I found more people that I relate to. And it's actually the Rust Belt Rooster net is wider than I was initially giving credit to. And it does like also encapsulate people I do truly love and like wouldn't connotate any bad memories towards. But they say things and then I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, God, what? But I love you. Yeah, it's interesting.
This is quite that was a great little.
One thing about us, we be yapping.
Archetype.
We can yap.
On a podcast?
You have a lot of different characters named, which is, I think, more rare than not for songwriters to have like. It feels like half your songs have like people in them, like, with names. We got King Joe. We got Virgil, Stacy, Abelard. Are none of these people?
No.
Are some of them people?
They're characters.
Yeah.
You have more.
I mean,
context on that.
It's probably, you know what? I think in being a boring, straight, white, cisgendered male, initially I struggled with what it meant to write in the first person because it seemed kind of cringe. And so I would describe characters. And I think finally in writing about Rust, I mean, I've joked about us being like bourgeois art school kids, but I think finally in writing about Rust Belt Rooster, I was trying to write a little bit about some of the men I've come to know in just being from Winnipeg. And I for various reasons, I spent quite a bit of time in rural Manitoba. And so that was, in a roundabout way, my attempt to work out a representation of characters I know, but I've always struggled with writing in the first person. It's probably also because I'm not a singer. So a lot of those
Well, and
references.
also that like the character came from you, but then like the first person lyrics in the songs came from me, and
Yeah.
then we like I don't know how much we even changed in the studio from what like stanzas got sent to the band or whatever, but like the character definitely archetype was not like my creation at all, but I felt like the actual
That's really interesting. So you would come up with a character, an idea.
that's not we don't rewrite different every time.
Yeah.
There's no like
But it's just cool. But that's
for that song
happened.
specifically, yeah.
Oh, okay. For Rust.
That's why the album's a hot mess.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't mean to agree so quickly. No, it's why the album is all over the place, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I don't think, anyway.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's all you described it as Dionysus crashing a Mennonite social.
Who wrote that bio?
ChatGPT.
Oh my fucking god! We gotta get a new
So they
bio.
could not come with that. With influences ranging from Fiona Apple to Jay Dilla, which is crazy.
It's actually accurate. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually
feels
is.
right.
She's come around on the bio.
Yeah.
No. I didn't say that. That part is accurate. That's all I said.
Didn't you read the group email? We all proved that. Yeah, there's an eclecticism to the album, and I think part of it is that I think people associate the Midwest with this kind of homogeneity, and they think of it as being not particularly cosmopolitan, not particularly diverse in terms of its cultural influences, and that's not really true in a way. Like there's
House music came from Detroit and Chicago, both cities in the Midwest.
Yeah,
Very important style of music that has influenced the world over, European disco,
Pop
etc.
music.
Yeah. Deeply important to pop music.
And so much of the great folk music came out of the prairies, and we're not making folk music, but I think more interested in some of the lyricism that you might get from Dylan,
storytelling.
storytelling you might get
Yeah.
from Neil Young or Dylan, or Joni Mitchell.
True. That's the lyrics feel very in that vein. I think for your guys' stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to hear that.
Folk tales, songs about people.
I think we like a narrative style.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Yeah.
Which is funny because everyone writes in first person these days too.
Yeah.
And it's almost like if you're not like this sort of cult figure, like looking into the camera and telling people, this is how I feel and you should feel this way too. It's sort of considered non-marketable. I remember reading something about how like the top 40 bands on Spotify or something, like they're not bands, the musical acts, like there's not a single one that's a band anymore.
Right.
And there's like there isn't a sense of what do you call it, polyvocality, like multiple voices and multiple perspectives, like one person. And that does seem to be what's trending,
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's not really what we're doing. Maybe that's why we're
Why
not
do you
trending.
think that is?
I think it's cult of personality, the way that social media is like, oriented us all to like bare our souls to the camera in this sort of like singular voice that is like ostensibly, whether it's whether you're playing a character or not, as you're talking to the camera, it is sort of important that your audience connects with you as the individual or as the
It also
character.
fosters a sense of self-importance too. Like people care,
And it
wanna
lends
hear
itself to
that.
parasociality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a great comic from Winnipeg, comic book artist from Winnipeg, whose name I forgot, lives, Ben Clarkson, who's in Montreal, and I remember seeing a comic of his from like 10 years ago, and it was a girl like crying and like over her cereal for some reason. There was a picture of Taylor Swift going, "I care," like people are able to like vicariously live through these cult figures, and there's something to be said for that. I don't identify with it, but I guess we have
To each their own, joy-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess in the band setting, like it kind of used to be like that too. With like Beatles was a big one, where it was like 3 out of the 4 had a big cult of personality.
Sure.
And then I think as it evolves, it's like it's harder to market multiple people at once
and multiple
right?
styles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big issue actually that we're running into is just like trying to self-define. Like, sometimes we'll talk to festival bookers or something, and they're like, I don't know where to put you in our programming. Yeah. I don't know what do I call your music? We're struggling with that ourselves.
Also, too, like when we first started writing together, we had talked about it being a collective and not a band, and so that kind of lent itself to like you know, lots of different genres, lots of different performers. But then when we kind of shifted to, okay, no, we're a band and everyone's that is like regularly writing, you know, contributing and stuff, then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, now I'm singing songs that other people sang, you know what I mean? And like kind of like figuring out what that would look like, figuring out what a live show would look like when it's like sample based sometimes, or like when I'm only the feature on the song and like the main artist is a rapper or a vocalist with a completely different range than me. So that has happened a few times, but you just adapt and make it work. But yeah, it's a work in progress, I think. Also, I think the more we write, the more we're streamlining our sound. Even if it's like on opposite edges of whatever kind of genre we're like playing with, there's a through line, and that continues to define itself as we write.
It sounds to me like there's a pretty strong through line with the record. Like it sounds.
What? How would you just out of can you tell us about that?
Can you help us with our applications?
Just like
We're taking notes for grants.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm asking the questions now.
The drums and bass are pretty hip hop. And you don't think so?
No, I know. Yeah.
I'm
just no. Go on.
Okay. And the vocal melodies are like, it's like it sounds to me like the words in the story are like taking priority, and then the vocal melody is like finding a way to fit the story in rather than fitting the story to like more.
That's literally the opposite of how they came to be, which is super interesting. Yeah, Conrad would write, like, okay, so in the early stages, Conrad would write both, but the melody would come first. Am I wrong?
No, the melody was always first.
Always first, and then there would be conversations we would have where syllabically it wouldn't work, or emphasis wise it would be like I'm singing the high note on the or something. You know what I'm like? We gotta fix it out.
I wasn't writing for her register.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Or there would be like a vowel on like an F5 where he has me singing an E, and I'm like,
you don't do a vowel.
You don't do exactly. You understand now? No, he doesn't. But just kidding. But
I'm getting there.
Now it's like, luckily I'm like, I don't know, just like contributing more vocally, like in every way, like writing the melodies and the lyrics, or like contributing to both, and like choosing a key that works and things like that. So, and like would write the lyrics before the melody, actually. Those two songs that we just released, I wrote the lyrics first and then wrote the melody after.
You know, in one of your most viral moments, and she's right about all that, in one of your most viral moments, you had Glenn Radley on saying, you know, that bands should not be democracies. And I think what's happened with BB, with Bluebloods, is that we have moved in a more democratic fashion, and you know, like that just like in some sense when I see the leader of the band like a Chaperone or a Taylor Swift, like I think of almost like an authoritarian cult leader in a way. You know, there's this team of people under them who are supporting them and who are helping to produce the sound, and yet everyone like worships at the altar of the pop star. And I think that is a totally normal way, increasingly normal way to consume music. It maybe is the wise way to approach music if you want to make it commercial and you want to make it viable. But you know, it's funny because like I think everyone has multiple moods, and you know, there's something about most artists sort of express a single vision, and it always seems kind of hollow to me, because I always think like, well, sometimes I feel, you know, this way, and sometimes I feel that way emotionally, and sometimes I feel like this style or that style. So to me, it actually feels more authentic or honest to try to embrace eclecticism. Yeah. And I was always interested in trying to understand what that would mean to embrace it from the point of view of being a prairie musician, where everyone assumes you're also just homogeneous, that everything in the prairies is just kind of fly over
very
and
square,
flat,
very square.
You know? Yeah. But you know, I can't tell you that. I mean, people aren't knocking on our door the way they're knocking on all the celebrity stores, and you know.
But it feels authentic to us.
It feels authentic to us,
and
you know,
never once have we ever like sat in a writing room and been like, wow, that's not quite commercial enough. We like there's a storyline or a story, like an actual like concept in our head that we want to write about, and like I think that will age better as well. Like 20 years later, I'll still feel like I stand by that thing that I made. I didn't sit there and like nitpick until it felt like not like us anymore. And yeah, I don't know. It's nice.
But, you know, like
Sam, you have not talked in a while.
I'm listening, but
democracies
seeing
are
if there's a
messy.
point of
I mean,
disagreement or something. Yeah.
Democracy's a messy experiment.
Yeah.
And you know, you can probably even tell from the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
we can be messy as a group, and we don't
Absolutely.
always see eye to eye. And
I'll also say I've changed my tune over things I thought over the years.
so have I. You know?
Like I'll listen to something after and have felt so strongly about it at that one point,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, nah, this rips. I don't care. Like,
yeah,
you know,
that
like,
happens. Yeah.
yeah,
I know. There'll be something you know we'll bump heads about, and then later it seems trivial. You know.
exactly.
But yeah, like to Glenn's point, like I understand why he thinks music should be approached in a more or less authoritarian fashion, but like I don't feel that way about Bluebloods.
Conrad's a good liberal, always trying to be anti-fascist.
Well, I believe in pluralism, you know, but it's a mess. You know, in trying
Absolutely, it
to
can
do it.
be, but I
Yeah.
think that actually lends itself to the artistry of it all. There are melodies you wrote that I never would have wrote, and I think are gorgeous, or
thank you.
like,
One of
or
my-
lyrics that I'm like, wow, that
sh-
sounds like I could have wrote that. I really
And one
resonate
of my
with
favorite
that.
moments on the record is, you know, the breakdown on Back in the Day, which is like I don't tend to write super hooky melodies, and you did, and it's one of my favorite moments. And actually, one of the reasons I love it so much is it's written so intensely in the first person, you know. So actually, you know, to that, like the other way, just to flip this a little bit, I do think it's important, despite, you know, my love of pluralism and variety and polyvocality, if you want to use that term, the idea of multiple voices. I do think it's important once in a while to have a star come forward and like, you know, grab the audience by the ruff of their neck and tell them their vision. And Courtney's, you know, she's really kind of come into that role, and I think you really shine on that particular tune for that reason.
I like that song.
I guess like both can very much work. Like I'm thinking of now like the solo folk artist, right, with like one person and the guitar. Like that can be this very special thing because it's so personal, because it's just this one voice. And then if that type of songwriter were to make a band, it would make sense that they would kind of spearhead it.
Yeah.
Whereas having a bigger group just depends on like what you guys are, like who you are as artists, as musicians. Like if it can in many ways make sense for you to have all those voices, combine it and come up with something special.
Yeah.
Well, and the idea I think is always to try and make the sum of its parts greater.
Yeah.
So to like bring our best selves to the music, and then hopefully we're all operating in our respective, I'm going to bumble this, but basically we're all bringing our like the best, the thing that we do the best to the equation. And then rather than us trying to all do everything, we're giving the best part of ourselves, and then the ultimate final product is better for that.
This has begun very sincere, and I just keep burping from that beer.
I burped so many times just now. Yeah, I know.
Who plays drums?
Well, it depends on what song you're listening to on the record.
On the record, we have a variety of drummers that we hired for the sake of the project. And then when we play live, right now we're working with...
A lot was Kevin on the record, though. Like,
it was Kevin Waters on a lot of the record.
Who's
Beast.
a genius.
Beast to end all
really.
beasts on drums, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so then are drums not figured out until you're in the studio?
We will, like, when we did this record sort of in a strange way as compared to what I've worked on records before, which is that we didn't play anything live before we went to the studio. We just demoed things and then brought it into the studio. And sometimes the demos, I mean, I think almost all the demos had drums on them.
Yeah.
So we would have a concept of what we wanted, and then we would bring it to whomever we were hiring to play, the other instruments. We hired keyboards and guitar and drums.
It's interesting because the drums on a lot of these songs feel like so instrumental to the groove.
That's Kevin for you. That's
Yeah.
just,
A lot
he's
of
just
that's
such a
Kevin.
good player. Like he is just, his pocket is incredibly deep. His feel is amazing. He doesn't play more than the song needs. Like he's just a really intelligent player on basically every front. So
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm a huge Kevin Waters fan.
And like when you talk about there being like a hip hop element, like Kevin, he helps.
Right.
Yeah,
He's
like just his
I mean,
feel.
he's a brilliant jazz drummer, but he understands how to play that sort of like boom bap feel, if you will, which seems like a reductive way to put it. He knows how to do that live in a way that few others can.
True.
Yeah.
Awesome. What else we got?
No beer.
Oh God. Here we go.
If you want, we can send it.
I'll do another
You want?
beer.
Yeah.
Courtney?
Fuck it, brother. Why not?
I'll get another generic. I haven't drank since New Year's, so.
Sammy still. I'll have
The
one more.
fourth?
Maybe the Trans Canada one.
Pretty good for me.
If you still got.
I'm trying to pick up smoking too.
Of course. Why not? The air is
there's a whole range of
carcinogenic.
habits.
Everything
Yeah,
is
yeah.
carcinogenic.
I would just never vape though. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you have dignity.
I have dignity. I'm not putting one of those batteries up to my mouth. Like,
The thing is, when you reach 30 and you're bringing your vape to bed, that's just when you have to. That's a call to Jesus. That's a come to Jesus moment where you're like,
I won't say who, but a certain friend of mine. She's like, she was with a guy, and let's just say that he vaped through the whole experience, and she's like, I've never seen that man again. Like, it was revolting.
that's
Take this one.
embarrassing.
You know, like
I
everyone,
would like
all
this
these
one, thank you.
all these Gen Zs keep ragging on us millennials, and it's fair. You know, we're like this close to being dead, but
And it's funny because I'm on the cusp of being one or the other
yes,
a little bit,
right.
and
But that's true.
I get the worst of both though, because
Yeah,
like I get
that's-
the you're old part of the millennial, then I get the you're chronically online part of the Gen Z, and I'm just like a old chronically online.
I mean, we're all
woman.
chronically online.
But they keep
To the
saying,
degree that I am, I'm not sure.
No, fair.
and like I get it, like they're way funnier than we are, the Gen Z. Like
Absolutely, they are.
and they've taken the weirdest parts of the internet from when we were growing up, and they've just turned it into like an art form, like some sort of modern art, and it's amazing. But they're wrong about not needing drunks. Like, come on, you gotta.
No. Yeah, they drink like 75% less than
Yeah,
millennials
yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
which is
And,
significant.
and they vape. Like, be a man, smoke a cigarette. Just kidding.
I feel like there's been a return to form with people my age where we got into vapes for a while, and now all the people I know are just like, fuck a vape, I'm back on the ciggies, man. Because you can't bring a ciggy to bed.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
We had like part of the debate with the album is, you talk about drums, is like how much should be in the box, how much should be live, and it's like we went acoustic, and they keep talking about being acoustic as like a metaphor, but they're not acoustic enough when it comes, they're not analog enough when it comes to their smoking. Like, you know, like smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, you gotta get, exactly. Yeah, reduce the amount of technology that you're including in your everyday
Like,
life.
as I said, I'm trying to start. You know, I'll get there.
You don't really need to try very hard to start smoking.
I'll say most
You
of the
gotta
Gen
work
Zs
at
that
it.
I know just do both.
Okay.
I
They're
have seen a
ambivalent.
healthy amount of that
You know
as
Gen
well.
Zs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't just call you Unk and Chop.
I teach them.
You teach them.
But yeah.
Chopped unk.
He's like 6'7" to the kids. And they're like,
That's a new thing now.
Fuck
Did you
Unk.
know that?
What?
They're making fun of my country's tragedy.
They're making fun of what?
They say 6'7", 9/11.
Oh, wow.
That's the thing.
I didn't know
Wow.
that.
You know, guys, I'm telling you,
9/11
I'm
jokes have been going
online.
on forever.
Well, yeah,
This
they're
is
never
what-
stopping. But the
This is
kids
what
don't know.
You sound like Trump. This is what the kids are saying. This is what they tell me.
Yeah, this is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying it.
Yeah, the 9/11 jokes, if they're...
People were making, okay, I was like, what, 2001. So I was like 7. I was 7. And people were making jokes like a week later. That's just the way
Yeah.
people are.
Whoa.
That's just the way people
Yeah,
are.
that's true, yeah.
People were making people still to this day. Well, it depends on who you. And like this goes back to the Rust Belt Rooster conversation. These are people that are just trying to elicit a reaction out of people. They don't mean they think it's funny. You know, they're just like, ooh, wouldn't this be edgy if I said this? But yeah, I remember lots of people making horrible jokes, and I think to this day.
Do you think so? Do you think there's that kind of intention of like
Yes,
being?
definitely. Well, kids especially.
But, like,
Kids are just attention-seeking, like drama solicitors. They just want to see the world burn because kids just want to feel something, and you know, like I think every emotion
Kids
as a
respond in
kid
the
is
chat.
turned up to 11, and they really just like get off on feeling stuff really strongly.
Still, I mean, 6'7", 9/11 is the most dystopian string of words I've ever heard.
Wow. Yeah, that's the internet zeitgeist will do that to you though.
Yeah.
Never
Sure.
leaving your house will do that to you.
Yeah. I mean, that is maybe that is the downside. It's just like being chronically online, and I get it. But like, I don't. I it raises questions about what's happening with live music. Like, I get it. I'm old and I'm irrelevant or something, but I am sometimes a little worried. And I think
They don't
kids
leave
are-
the house very often.
I think the kids are extraordinarily funny, and I've been putting up with a lot of the millennial hate, I think, in taking it like I'll take it. It's most of it's deserved. I mean, all those Jim Carrey impressions we did, like, god damn it, like
we gotta
like,
pay
we should
reparations.
be canceled for that, you know. But yeah, it is a weird thing where people don't seem to be going to shows as much. I mean, I associate that with, like, okay, I'm kidding with the drinking. Like, people shouldn't be alcoholics. That's I'm obviously being ironic, and I'm just joking with the fact that when you go to a lot of shows, like, your first instinct is to have a drink.
I guess, and that could very well be part of why they're drinking less.
Because they're not
just
participating at all
Yeah.
in anything.
Yeah.
But they're also
Yeah.
going to church less.
Are they? No, there's
I'm
like a
kidding. All these
resurgence.
tradcasts now.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe that's
Millennials are very much part of that too.
Church cannot be on the
I think
rise.
actually
What's
a
that?
lot of millennials.
Church cannot be on the rise.
It's on the rise.
Absolutely.
Is it?
Yes,
It's
oh, absolutely.
but among Catholics, not the United Church,
The
which is what
return
I'm
to-
associated. I'm with
yeah.
like a lefty church, you know.
In the States, there's
Catholics,
a return to form
like,
of the
Protestants,
nuclear family,
it's-
No, but
like
it's
dream.
conservative Christians.
Yeah.
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 I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the lefty churches in Canada, because Canada has like a noble tradition of like left-wing Christianity that like hugely informed a lot of our radical
I was actually
politics.
surprised when I moved here about how progressive a lot of churches were. I will say.
Yeah, a lot of the Unitarians. Yeah.
And I'm talking relativity
United,
speaking.
a lot of the, like the urban Mennonites. But yeah, no, I mean, like my point is about churches that people just seem to be congregating a little bit less.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, like a lot of these churches in the cities that are like struggling with their identity, like, oh, we'll become venues. So it's like, well, people don't go to shows either.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, like, you know, God bless the West End Cultural Center, which is has survived its.
Did you just
Well, it used to be a church. It used to be a church, and even Jorge said like he calls it a church still.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
There's something about that resonates with me, and you know, there is like a sense sometimes where I get it, all the criticism of millennials online, but maybe we should all just like log off and, you know, talk to each other as people.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Like intergenerational warfare is insane. Like what about the landlords?
I make the concerted
You know?
effort because I go out a lot. It's like being online, but also participating in community. But you have to resist the urge to speak only in fucking references.
Oh yeah, right. Well, when you grew up, and we did this. We started off making Simpson references. You know,
Mine were SpongeBob,
Yeah,
and
well,
like
she's younger. But and I was always thinking the kid in class who only could talk in Simpson voices. You're like, you're not very funny, you know?
Right.
or they were just trying to relate.
Yeah.
Don't be mean.
Yeah, but yeah, well, all your references are mediated through internet slang, which are all incidentally appropriated from like queer people. Anyway.
Usually.
You know.
It's usually like queer and black culture that is being stolen
it's just been
ad
stolen
nauseum.
anyway.
And also that's been happening much more frequently with like much more, I don't know, boldness in recent years than I think, especially as people in our mid 30s were like, whoa, it's just kind of weird. It's like kids that I know in my life that are like 13, 14 have no idea that like you wouldn't hear like unk.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that's,
right.
you know.
This always happens. This
It
is
does
just what
always
culture
happen.
is.
It
This
absolutely
is.
is.
It changes with the times. People appropriate new words.
but they're
and then
always
the older people just get
appropriating-
annoyed with the language that has come about. Like, this is just what culture is.
And it
Yes,
comes
but
up
we
to
notice
different
who they
things.
appropriate every time.
It's
It's the black and
continually
queer
being
culture.
appropriate. Yes, fine.
Right.
Always.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But I'm not like sure if the point is being made. It's like, okay, like, yes, new words come into the zeitgeist. As
Does
you
that
like
make
to
it
say.
okay though?
No, that's not my point. I'm not defending like appropriating black language.
You wouldn't do that. But the question is like, yes, that is culture, but like the observation isn't necessarily like wrong to make, you know? I don't know. Maybe we were just
Wait,
saying the
is it-
same thing.
I think we're saying the same thing.
We're saying the
I
same
think I'm
thing.
just
To
saying like,
use words.
yeah, like words
that
find
come-
themselves
yeah.
into discourse, and then that just becomes part of. Like, I'm just saying that like that is what has always gone on at
got it.
time
I'm not
immemorial.
Got it.
I'm not at all surprised that people are influenced by African American culture because it is literally the greatest culture of the 20th and 21st century. What surprises me sometimes is people online in these echo chambers who don't seem to be like turning off their phones, who don't even know where, you know, their references
Right.
come
That's
from.
what
Right,
I was
right.
trying to say.
You
That's what I was
know.
trying to say. Like it's like the lack of knowledge of the origin and
Yeah.
like how like there's just such a disconnect from it. And we can like sit there and watch and be like,
Which
so weird.
I guess is unfortunate, but also unpreventable.
Correct.
Like it's everything evolves to an extent
I wouldn't even say
where
it's unfortunate. It's just confusing as someone who's older. I don't think I've ever had to deal with that until I was in my 30s, you know?
Yeah, when you become more aware of the
Right,
world, and then you
exactly.
like can see the trajectory, and you'd be like, oh, these kids are just like appropriating these things, and it's sort of embarrassing when you actually understand how it all works.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, yeah, obviously, like you don't know any better. That's just what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, let's get off the like. We're just focusing on America for the moment. Like with online culture in general, doesn't it sort of feel like all these references are feels kind of, I hate to use, there's a stupid academic term. It feels kind of postmodern where all these references are just kind of run together, you know? But it's like, I mean, as someone who also likes musical pluralism, I'm kind of attracted to that experience. But sometimes it, raises questions about authenticity. And I mean, even I struggle with that as a musician, as someone who's influenced by a variety of things. And there's Tin Pan Alley influences on the record. There's stuff from the Weimar Republic. And like once in a while, regardless of what the source is, whether it's from Berlin or Detroit, like, you can ask yourselves about whether you have an authentic relationship to that. And I mean, the internet, I think for a lot of people is a way of feeling cosmopolitan, of broadening their references, but it kind of comes at the expense of
not knowing the source material that well.
Or even like being among people and being among community, which is
like grounding yourself in your
which
community.
is really, I think, where culture comes from.
That's the authenticity of it all,
being together in
Definitely.
a way, and that's, I think, in some sense what the internet is undermining. So it comes with certain advantages, but it also has the danger of undermining the foundation for culture in the first place.
This reminded me of like, I used to rap.
Okay.
I wasn't very good. And but I loved it, and I loved the culture and the art, and I was like, I just want to rap. And then I realized like it's not me, it's like not who I am, you know. And then realized that and stopped doing it. But I guess it could you could say the same for kind of any type of cultural appropriation, right? Where it's like they're using words that don't originate in your community, it's things you see online, whatever.
Yeah,
like, is it inauthentic to
everyone in the
do
60s,
so?
like these like upper middle class kids that dropped out of college all started talking in this like California way, and none of them actually spoke that way, They like adopted a style of speech. Hey man, tubular,
Really.
Right.
Yeah, youth culture does this, I guess, but
I think
sometimes it's more problematic.
The desire to be different and contrarian from your parents and whatever. I think the only like observation it was just new to me to witness as somebody who used to be the young one,
Right.
But just to make sure I understand, you're saying that like people are always like, just to get off of the internet jargon that's being stolen. You're just saying that people are channeling influences beyond where they're from. They could be from Berlin, as in when we do.
Like I've picked up some slang I was traveling last year, and I met some like Aussies and some Brits. I've picked up a couple of their slang words that I use now all the time, just like little things, and it feels like I've like integrated it somehow.
Totally. It's definitely a perspective thing, like those friends probably think that's really endearing, but then someone who doesn't know you and then's from there would like judge you,
So
like
what's
person to person, and who really cares if it feels authentic to you.
Slang that you knew from North Dakota that maybe makes it on.
I don't think I use any slang.
I'd never heard of a Quonset before.
A Quonset is a big metal building that holds farm equipment.
So that's what you're saying there. I didn't even know. She's saying
what would you call that here? Like on a farm, a big, and I'm talking like
knew
semi.
the word.
I never knew the
I'm
word.
too much of a city slicker. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's the term. Quonset. You put tractors and excavators.
Yeah.
And,
But this is like what we're getting. Like in some sense, it's like we can speak to that experience. Like you're not going to see us using jargon that isn't.
No inauthentic jargon.
We try to use jargon.
Except for all of our philosophical bullshit that we throw.
That ain't got nothing to do with me, mama.
That's me being a
I mean, that's authentic.
Yeah, it is authentic for sure.
Yeah, that is me.
But it is jargon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Courtney has a better claim to being able to, traffic in the lexicon of Rust Belt roosters from the Midwest.
I don't know.
I toured with an Elvis impersonator across all parts of this country. I think I can claim
I think the only thing that I have a better grip on is what an actual small town is like. I don't think either of you really know what an actual small town is like.
No,
like
I never lived in an actual small town.
400 people. There's nothing like that experience.
And I have the luxury of like romanticizing, the close-knit ties of community
Yeah, but have you ever walked into a
Yeah.
fucking bar at 2 a.m. at freshly 21? Someone comes up, you're Francis's granddaughter. Hey, what's your dad doing? Hey, who's your cousin? Fucking blah, blah, blah. Like, everyone knows you.
I feel like that's Conrad.
But you know what?
Well, yeah, true.
The south end of Winnipeg is just as provincial. You know, like it's just as. It's
People
just
just
as
know
insular.
every bit of your business, no matter where you go, no matter who you talk to. They know who you're seeing. They know who your mom is.
But why do we always automatically assume? Sorry,
I just don't like people knowing what I'm doing.
But I'm saying, why do we automatically assume that kind of provincialism is unique to small working class towns? Like, what I mean,
Definitely, I don't. But neither of you have ever lived in that small town. I didn't say nobody
back to
else
Burbank.
understands. I'm saying neither of you
No,
understand.
but my point is, in some ways, just to take the south end of Winnipeg down a peg a little bit. I think that culture is just as provincial.
Like Morris and Emerson?
No, like Fairview Heights.
Oh, South Winnipeg?
Yeah, I'm saying that culture, despite having the reputation of being like elite Winnipeg, if you know it, is just as insular. in a
No,
lot of
I completely
ways.
disagree. Completely
I
different.
think I will be the tiebreaker. I do think that there is absolutely small town communitarian like habits that occur in the largest cities.
Every neighborhood does it.
Yeah, it's the same kind of. It's like anytime that you have like a community of people. I think the difference is that in a small town you can't escape it.
I will say
Right.
I've lived in both. And I would say no.
But I know, but Corey, what I'm in some sense trying to do is say that like
I think it has more to do with. Sorry, if I may. I think it has more to do with staying where you grew up.
Yeah, maybe. But no.
well, you can always move over to another neighborhood in the city. You can be like, okay, I'm done with, Transcona.
Yeah.
I'm going to St. Boniface.
Right.
All I'm saying, in some senses, it's actually just to take down. Like I think they think of me as. Courtney teases me sometimes for being from the south end.
I just like laugh and call him old money. Essentially, I'm like, okay.
I mean,
old
I'm
money.
not.
No, he's.
I'm a wasp who's fallen from grace. But like my great grandfather was a strike breaker of the 1919 general strike, right? And the point that I'm making is, and it's not to put down my milieu. It's just to say that having grown up in that environment, at going to yacht clubs and stuff as a kid, I wouldn't say that culture is any richer or more, or it might seem more cosmopolitan on the surface, but it's a village like any other.
I think we're going back. I think we're going back to the point of being just saying, like, remember how we were talking about how like that's just how language works. Maybe we're talking about how that's just how community works. Yeah. Like, and it is for sure, but there will be like there's heavy nuances because the lifestyle of a big city is just different. It is just different than the lifestyle of a small town. You have stuff to do. You have things to go to. You have a large group of people from which to pull. I had 5 other girls in my class. And if I wanted to make more friends, I had to drive 30 miles in one direction to go to a new city and figure out how to meet them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Which is what the advantage of being online is now.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Totally.
like that is probably why you were so terminally online. as a
definitely.
kid.
And I
Why
had
you were
friends
on
that I
Tumblr
never
and-
met, that I met on like MMOs that I was playing on PC and, like, yeah. But
She didn't say 4chan.
I did not, and I wouldn't. And I shall not.
The right places of the internet as a
Correct,
teenager.
correct.
unlike
The
a lot of
green
these-
flags
But like
of the
that's
internet.
like they say that Gen Z men are among the most conservative. A lot of it are just like it's always Andrew Tate slop that they're drinking from. And
That's something that we didn't really have when I was growing up.
no,
was like,
it was on like
influencers weren't a thing,
No one
which
was
is a good thing.
only the most the weirdest incels
Jenna
were on
Marbles.
4chan.
She was my only influencer.
I remember Jenna.
I love
is she,
Jenna Marbles.
Is she still
bitch.
cooking?
No, she got kicked off the internet and she had a fall from
What?
grace. And she's actually had like a bit of a resurgence where like people are like, yeah, we like you again.
Huh.
Yeah.
But none of us.
She was a bit of a victim of the we're gonna like get really mad at all things that everyone do, which is like it needed to happen in the moment, but she was a little bit of collateral damage in that way, I think, because I love her and I'm a bit of a Jenna Marbles apologist, but
The internet, I think like people parody this Jim Carrey thing where the millennials do these like wholesome skits that are like cringe, and they're kind of like musical theater type skits. And part of it is because the internet we grew up with was like people were kind of still like imitating movies in a way, and we didn't like there was this really weird stuff happening on the edges of the internet on like 4chan, that like
and YouTube.
But it was
Early
like
days
you
of
kind of had
YouTube.
to like look for it, and like you didn't. I mean, if you were like a nice person, you didn't go into
Right, you didn't stumble upon things like that.
Yeah,
Nowadays, you're gonna like stumble upon horrendous like manifestos,
Yeah,
and then back in the day, you had to really search. I don't
like,
know. Maybe that was just maybe that's the rose-colored glasses of it all, but that's how it felt.
It's true, and like our comedy was linear. It was narrative, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas what's happened now is like with memes that like that kind of narrative humor is dead. It's all like intertextual.
And there'll
it's
be
all
memes you
absurd.
see where you're just like, I don't get this, and it's because it's referencing 6 things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's like it's
exactly.
unleashed comedy, but I think
Yeah.
to some extent at the expense of everything else. And so there's like a maliciousness or like a nihilism to some of that comedy. Like it's has nothing to do with community, has nothing to do with morality. And so
It's like pure irony.
it's but to the point where you're kind of like, but is it ironic, you know? And that was kind of happening over on
Right,
4chan, you know, and like which I wasn't aware of as a
Yeah,
teenager.
4chan's a hilarious example of that, actually.
I just wasn't.
It's kind of an extreme example
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
You know, I was just like a South End. I didn't go on 4chan, you know. And whereas now you're one of the Instagram comment section, it's just like 4chan. Now,
Yeah,
you know?
literally.
It's, and so I think that the nice side of being a cringe millennial was that not that it wasn't terrible politics back then, but
I don't know if
It
now is
wasn't
much
quite as
better.
readily accessible though, and it wasn't as in your face because
wasn't as in your
nowadays like
face.
it's like the algorithm actually approves
Yeah.
things that are inflammatory.
And
I don't think
so-
back then that was the
when
case.
people make fun of the cringe millennials, I think what they're partially making fun of is their sincerity, you know, and the fact that they're like not so hip that they don't
think that's
realize.
true.
Like being a try-hard is
Yeah.
one of the most
Have
cringe
you-
things
have
you
you-
can do.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all I said.
You're right, but also the Gen Zs have this thing called the like the Gen Z stare. Have you heard of this concept?
No.
So, I think with millennials, a lot of times we were instilled upon us this kind of sense of like general common courtesy, manners. Like you owe the person to your left and right kindness to some degree. You don't, or like maybe you don't even owe them that, but you would like to extend it because that's what you were taught. Gen Z, especially ones that kind of, spent their formative years during COVID, they have this idea that you don't owe people anything. And maybe that's true in theory, but as a community member, you should want to extend kindness and whatever. So there's a lot of people who, and I've actually had this experience many times because I'm like overly friendly. I could maybe stand to find the line, but like I'll go to some retail establishment and I'll say to like an obviously younger than me Gen Z worker, like I'll just smile and be like, how's your day? And they'll look at me like it was so weird of me to ask that. And it was like so out of place or they look at, and they literally don't ask or they don't answer. They just go, I'm like, hey, how are you?
That might just be a side effect of not being socialized in general.
And I think it definitely is, but it's noticeable. And
Yeah.
it feels like there's this, like, I'm trying so hard to build this, like, not even rapport, because rapport, like, I'm not coming back, but I'm just trying to be nice to you, you know?
yeah.
Like, I would like to, like, just smile at you and feel good about that. And I just feel like even the general kindness that we would usually extend to people is kind of like, they push back a little
This will be
bit.
the first time I disagree with Courtney in this whole podcast.
Period.
Just kidding. I see things different. I mean, and in many ways, like I think every generation is cooked in its own way. Like every generation is stupid. It's just they just have different types of shortcomings.
Right.
And we've gone through the laundry, like the list of what our shortcomings are. My worry with Gen Z is just it has to do with the growth of a kind of nihilism and right wing stuff that I see online, which is in part influenced by millennials like Andrew Tate. But the whole experience, whenever I go and have a customer service experience, I'm so terrified of being a Karen that my greatest fear in life is that someone in customer service roles, especially a young person, won't like me. I'm not saying I've been a perfect customer in every experience. So I don't have the experience. Like I've never felt like no. I mean, I'm wholesome. I'm dad. I'm not trying to like fawn or nothing.
Yeah.
I just the last thing I'd want to do would be a Karen millennial.
Oh, and I definitely don't show up in those spaces as a
I've never
Karen.
had the Gen Z look. I don't know. I think that maybe just young people like are. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I've never been like super thrown off by anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Also, there didn't used to exist terms for these things. I'm sure every generation has had a weird, mannerism that the next generation
And
before them
every
thinks is
generation-
weird.
To be very
I'm
clear.
trying to think. Like, I think that there is something to what you're saying. Like, I think it is a phenomenon that
Oh,
does
I've
exist.
definitely experienced it enough to know it's a phenomenon.
And I think, so have I. Like I said, I teach Gen Z kids. Like, I teach 19-year-olds, and I've noticed that in some of my classes where it's like, it is harder to pull energy out of them than it used to be pre-COVID.
But that's just kids, though.
But
think
no,
that's
like
reductive.
I'm noticing a phenomena that is different pre-COVID to now. But I do think, like to the extent to which that is like stable or won't change. I don't know if that's true. I also think that like to agree with you briefly, Conrad, I do think that like
Briefly.
being disaffected
This is
as a
democracy
teenager
manifest.
is pretty normal. I think being annoyed with the world as a teenager and thinking that no one can tell you anything is pretty normal.
Yeah, totally. Like I just
that.
yeah,
You were doing
the
recipe for the second
Succulent Chinese meal.
I don't know any internet references. I'm not online. I'm not online.
This one went straight over.
Yeah,
I am full on energy.
Democracy manifest. He died a few years ago.
What? My king? Oh, no.
No, but I mean, someone had a list of articles that they contrast or each generation moaned about the last generation. But what's I think kind of really funny
Right.
about being a millennial is just realizing how much I'm in my 30s and how much people who are like in their 20s and teenagers moan about us. Like
Well,
it's incredible, you're it's a lot of it's really funny. And like you try to take it in stride, and also as a musician, it's because I mean, in some sense, being a musician is being like a permanent child. There's something about being an artist that's like ridiculous. It's a ridiculous expectation. It's like being an athlete. Like at some point, you got to give up the kids game. And so I have like
Completely disagree.
I do too. It's like,
I won't give it up.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm gonna be like that old man. I won't give it up. But like a lot of people look at you in your 30s like,
Right.
come on, wrap it
That's
up.
their problem,
Like,
not ours.
No, that's like the fear that we have and the social norms that our parents and families sometimes.
But I've never
impart
seen
to
so many
us.
kids like call me like all the kids online are just like wrap it up like to people in their 30s as a musician.
I think that
and
maybe that's a sore
Don't
spot for
read the
you, and you're
comment threads.
noticing
reading
because
too
that's
many
a sore
comments.
spot for you.
maybe the algorithm is inducing this.
It's confirmation bias. You're just noticing the things that make you feel bad.
Yeah,
That's part of why the algorithm works.
In any case, it is a funny experience to just be to see how often people have complained about younger generations, but they in turn, like, here's my dad talking about in the 60s, which everyone makes fun of boomers. That was actually a very that generation. Crazy things happened in the 60s. They had the civil rights movement, the first anti-war protest, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, you can problematize some of those things now, but this was a really revolutionary moment. And then the boomers, just that term became an epithet, and
because they squandered every good thing they ever got from their generation and every governmental program that they ever received. They never made it so that
They
the
did become
generations
neoliberals.
after them would succeed.
They did become neoliberals. It's true. By the 1980s, everyone's just doing blow and like speculating on Wall Street. But in any case, but that I don't know how much that's just a product of the normal transition people go through into middle age, where they just become more conservative.
I would also say that.
It's weird seeing the kids be conservative, though.
Yeah.
Well, what I would like to say is that technology has exponentially grown in a way that we can't have predicted. And like, if you were to look at a grid of like humanity, this is technology. Like right at the end, especially with our like last like 5 generations, like shit just changes so quickly that it's hard to like even quantize each generation's relationship to one another, because everything they've been exposed to is so wildly different from the last generation. Like it's like war, technology, you know what I mean? Like, and it's all different, like social weird shit, and none of it is the same. Like you can be reductive about it and be like, that generation experienced war and that generation experienced war, but there's a difference between the Vietnam War and like the Cold War and like the first invasion of Afghanistan in the 90s. I'm just talking about like the US specifically because that's all I know, but like every single generation's exposure to that is different, and every and also the technological exposure that they had in addition to the culture is different, and it's hard to quantify. Like it's like you couldn't say that like the boomers and the Gen X, their relationship to one another is the same as the millennials and the Gen Z. It's going to just be
I don't
different.
think it was as fraught.
Maybe not.
I don't know that it was as fraught.
But there's just such different like stimuli, or like such different environmental and like social.
Well, it's almost like the Gen Z talking about millennials like we talked about capitalists. It's like these like they think of us as these granddaddies of culture that need to be like killed in a way, Whereas I came of age in the 2008 financial crisis when the world was falling apart economically, and an economic recession kicked in, and millennials became like a lot of progressive millennials joined Occupy Wall Street, and but in some sense, like I think people look at all of that as like it culminated in like the try-hard white people of 2020, where everyone was like, all these white people were like applauding themselves for being so progressive during George Floyd, and it was very cringe about what we were doing for like cultural capital, performative politics, and all that. But I do not want to be an old person saying I think, as I've already said, I think Gen Zs are the funniest generation. But I do worry that the reaction against like performative millennials and performative millennial cringe is producing a kind of nihilism that like means that the Andrew Tates of the world can like swoop in and that they can prosper.
Yeah.
That worries me,
That is scary.
But yeah, technology, maybe the most and all this technological change. Here's a question: like, is the thing to do to just? I mean, how to band? We're in a band, and we use some technology in the record, but we basically play live. Like, is there?
I think there will be in the next 10 to 15 years an enormous pushback against all technology. I know people in my life that are buying track flip phones. I know people who have
it's kind of
completely like I only read books, like physical copies of books. I do not use my cell phone for anything other than calling and texting, and like. That is the good thing about going so bad in one direction, is that there will always be a return to form, and you can always kind of like rely on the good old whatever you're excited about coming back into fashion in some way. So that I'm excited about. I think there will be a lot more records that are made analog in the next like 10 years. I think that there will be like artists who start taking their time again and releasing albums 2 to 3 years.
We have that in like on the. I think most artists take a while, right?
Well, you got to go
depends
broke
on who
making
you
that
listen
record,
to.
so
Yeah, depends on who you're listening to. I
listen
feel like
to
a lot of I like a lot of main pop girlies, and I get an album a year
yeah,
from some
yeah.
of them, and I'm not sure if that's the rate at which they should be releasing albums,
The technology thing though, so I meditated for 3 weeks in Thailand. I didn't do anything except meditate, and there was no phone, no reading, even no writing, just like
Be with your thoughts. Be with your thoughts. You raw dogged Thailand.
raw dog life. And so during that experience, I was like, it proved to myself, I can go like, if I can go 3 weeks without my phone, then, and the world's not on fire at the end of it, and it's all fine, then I could go, I should do like a day a week where I don't go on my phone at all, or day, no screens or. So I did that a couple weeks, and then very quickly it's like, this is like horribly inconvenient to not use screens at all.
You basically have to say like I'm not of the world anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not using GPS either. Like,
Exactly. I mean,
It feels monastic. in a
have
way.
that in my car, so even that would
you'd
be fine.
Oh, dang.
But there's little things like
You're gonna edit all these burps.
You better. I'm suing.
the burps are in.
I gotta piss. Dude.
Go.
You can just go. I
Yeah.
popped.
But even like little things like, okay, I'm going to the grocery store, I need a grocery list. It's always on my phone, and then I'm like, I guess we'll whip out the
It's
the pen and
incredibly
paper.
convenient. It's incredibly
And then,
convenient.
Yeah. Or like recording demos, I have the Zoom recorder to record if I need to, but then I need to like, it's a whole thing. You can't like scroll through it easily. You'd have to transfer it to the computer, transfer it to the phone, and it's just like, it's all in your pocket, and so abandoning that entirely is unrealistic. So it's finding the middle is very tricky.
I think, I agree with you. I don't know that like we'll ever be. I don't think we as a society, broadly speaking, are going to be removing ourselves from technology writ large. I think it's far too convenient. I think it's far too useful. I think it makes just life so much more efficient for creators in many ways. Like, I think that the hope is that we can all be a little more intentional with the way that we use these things. But we also have no end of corporations who are trying to buy our attention.
Yeah. everything is designed so that you are using it without intent.
That's
right.
Exactly.
That's right.
They want to waste your time. It is designed to waste your time.
Yeah.
Looking back.
Hello.
How do you guys waste your time?
Podcast. Being on a podcast.
Bro, the fuck? Instagram Reels. And TikTok. I actually downloaded an app recently called Intervention that like I set the time per day I think I need to be on these apps, and it closes it out when I'm done. Like when you think about how long scrolling for 5 actual minutes is, it's quite a lot. You can see a lot in 5 minutes. So like for Instagram, I have it like 20 minutes a day. 5-minute increments, like what, 5 times a day? That's plenty. What else do I need to be really doing? I don't message anybody on Instagram more than I text them or anything like that. So it's just superfluous for me to be opening it. And it's just wasteful, truly. TikTok, I'm working on it, but that one's, I think I have like the intervention set at like 2 hours because it's
2
a bit.
hours?
Yes, because I think I use it to wind down sometimes. So like I will come home from work and scroll for 25 minutes on TikTok and watch. And there's also like mini docs on TikTok, so it doesn't quite feel as like brain rot Vine 5-minute or 5-second video type thing, but it's definitely it is. I'm lying.
David Schellenberg said something to us when we were having a conversation with David Schellenberg. Who's a great musician in the city, and we were talking about marketing with him, and he was like, "Look, the reality is TikTok is TV now."
Yeah.
And so if I reframe, and that was, I mean, it's true and it's obvious and it's like not surprising, but it's also like to reframe in my mind the idea that social media now is just like television.
Yes, totally.
Is just, it sort of like rationalizes and allows me to like wrap my head around the idea of spending 2 hours on TikTok or 2 hours on Instagram or something.
And it's not like I'm on TikTok like this. I have like a stand on my phone. I have the TikTok playing like on a
it's just
table
sort of
while I
going,
fold laundry or something, which is just the same as turning on cable television. No, it's literally the same as hitting on your freaking cable television and putting a show on while you do laundry. It's just we have more internalized guilt about it being on our phone.
I'm the same, and I'll just say, we're guilty of the same.
We just need distraction. We are allergic to being bored. I think everybody could stand to be bored at least.
You ever use your phone in the bath?
No.
Oh yeah, it's.
I listen to music.
Like in the shower?
I'm a bath guy.
Oh shit!
I mean, then, sure, I would see how that would happen.
I would play music, but not watch something.
I scroll. That's when I get most of my scrolling done is in the bath.
You scroll in the bath? That's.
Do you take long baths? Like, how long do you sit in the bath for?
I mean, not long. Not more than an hour and a half.
90 minutes in the bath? That's great.
I mean, no,
I would prune so hard, dude. Oh my god.
Well, this is my question. Like, how wrinkly do you get?
I mean, look at me, an old man.
How much more?
Do you feel like
wrinkly?
it's perpetuating the wrinkles?
Resolution: I plan to get fatter and older and wrinklier this year.
Oh, you should
Well,
take a
if you get
smoking.
fatter, you'll get less
times
wrinkly.
in the bath, but hopefully not scrolling on Instagram or TikTok.
Right.
Hopefully, mainlining audiobooks about the death of the United Church in Canada.
Is that what you're reading right now?
Yeah, I've been on a whole kick about the United Church in Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the book?
Oh, I've just been like researching.
Yeah, Conrad's a reporter for the Free Press.
Don't bring that in. We don't want to connect the two. I'm interested in left-wing Christianity in Canada and how influential it was on the NDP and the CCF and all of like the big progressive movements that historically came out of Canada, and the United Church is like one of the leaders of this. And during the 1919 general strike, people like my great-grandfather thought it was alien Marxist Bolsheviks who were steering things. And I mean, certainly like the labor, there were a lot of people who were factory workers and who emerged from within the labor movement who were leading it, but a lot of them were like social gospel types who were these. I can already feel everyone's eyes fucking glazing over as I talk about this. I can just feel it. She's giving me the Gen Z stare. As a zillennial, she's giving me the Gen Z stare. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I've been listening to in the bath, and then just a little bit of Heidegger.
Do you have Heidegger on tape? Because you got to give me the link.
No. No.
No.
We're not talking about this.
Change the subject.
We have a debate about Heidegger. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
What about this?
How much of this do you cut?
None of it.
Oh no! Oh no!
Shit.
All right, well we gotta go. Oh yeah, look at the time.
For the record, we are not offended at the Gen Z stare. We love the Gen Z stare.
Come to our next
We don't
show.
need the kids. We don't
I
need the
said
kids. Concerned.
everything I said
We're
with my
against
chest.
all forms of
Were you guys
appropriation.
expecting me to cut all of it?
No. No, everything but about 8 to 10 minutes. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So you put it on YouTube,
Yeah.
and then you clip it for Instagram.
Yeah.
I feel
And
you.
it'll also be on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever.
Right.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Instagram seems to be where you get the action.
Instagram's popping. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you get the.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you get your 100 likes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like, a reasonable amount for like a.
Why are you doing that? Why are you being like that?
I'm happy for 100 likes.
Why is this?
I am, man.
I'm happy for
stoked,
100
yeah.
likes. I don't know how you feel about 100 likes. I didn't turn down 100 likes.
It was when I started, it was 6 likes.
Yeah,
now it's
exactly.
100.
Exactly. 100 likes is like, if you're a Winnipegger, that's a reasonable amount to that's like, I got 100 likes on a post, man.
Yeah.
I can turn off the hide unlike button. you know?
Yeah.
No? 100 likes?
I'm a woman. This doesn't apply to me.
True. Yeah.
All
There's
right,
a reason I'm not the face of the band.
Let's go here. You're saying your great grandfather was
Strikebreaker.
strikebreaker.
Yeah.
And remind me of the flu epidemic around that
Oh,
time.
the Spanish flu
which-
epidemic.
Yes, which was the inspiration for
Postcard.
Postcard.
Well, yes.
And how did that come together?
Sam?
I wasn't in the band
I
at the time.
know. I know.
No, it's true.
But
Conrad
I
also
want his
fully,
take. I want
Colin
his take on it.
fully wrote that song. So
I
that's
want his take.
You want my take on the song and the
What answer his question?
how did it come together? I don't know. It was the pandemic, and Conrad was.
2020.
Pardon me.
So it was peak 2020.
Peak 2020, and Conrad was like working on a new song, gotten some money for it, and am I misunderstanding?
No, I'm just nothing. Go on. I'm just remembering the experience of it all.
Well, then you tell the story.
no.
You were there.
No. Let him cook.
Okay.
The only one that really wasn't there.
What are the characters' names? Abelard and Eloise.
And Louise.
Louise.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Rude of you not to cut this podcast.
Conrad being Conrad, he wrote the story about two star-crossed lovers, one living in Winnipeg and one living in Flin Flon, writing letters from afar, mirroring the great love story of Abelard and Eloise from French. Well, I guess like two Franciscan. Well, one was a monk and one was a
A nun.
nun. Yeah.
That's
Oh.
nice.
I was gonna say
He
maid.
was also castrated with like goals.
Yes, he was indeed castrated. Does the Abelard in your story get castrated?
No,
That's up to the
just the
reader.
song, just the songwriter. Regularly by the band.
You were castrated long before. Let's be honest.
I think, for my part, I think male circumcision doesn't go far enough. Like, why stop
Conrad,
at the tip?
you gotta stop it. You know what? Knock it off right now.
I'm kidding. Yeah,
Okay,
but that was a
no.
good take. That was good.
All right. Well, I got some of
That's
it.
actually like a good example of what I was saying earlier about how I would never write those melodies, but I would obsess over them. Like that song has like really ornamental melodies. Like some of
I
the
like that,
note choices are passing tones that are not part of the key that are really beautiful.
Yeah.
They sit in the chord in a lovely way. They like actually like relate to the lyrics in a lovely way, but they're just things that I wouldn't do myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily like a bad thing at all. It's not even, it's just interesting. And I learned a lot from him about writing melodies and stuff. Like, I don't know. I just think it's really cool to have somebody come in that isn't a vocalist and make cool choices that you're like, shit, that's very interesting. Like in that song, there's a part right before the first chorus where I sing like the major 7 of the key on the word scream into the chorus. And I think that was almost like aural automatopoeia a little bit. Like I don't know. I don't necessarily think that was like, I don't know if you made that choice consciously, but when I go scream dream, scream, and then it like resolves into this like beautiful thing after I like am trying to make the point that things are ugly and I'm screaming. I was just like, wow, how smart. And to me, a lot of times I'm thinking like, what does the vowel sound like, or like, you know, how is this hooky, or I will just write things with my instinct, which a lot of times, because I love pop and R&B, is just hooky. So Conrad tends to make really like informed, beautiful choices that I just wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
Bourgeois art school
I've been
kid.
thinking a little bit about this actually, just in general, as like I talk to more musicians and more people who write from the perspective of their own instrument. Where like so often, I think, and we do it sort of without even realizing it, as musicians who write from the perspective of our own instrument, we're writing things that feel good, just like feel physically good. And I don't mean that in any sort of like banal way where it's just like, oh, this is the thing that lays under your hands. It's also something that like feels good to do.
There are certain notes in my range that are just like they soar and they work and they feel good to express, that I kind of not result. What is the word I'm trying to say? I just go to. Yeah.
You're drawn to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like maybe it's a lazy choice sometimes.
Well, I don't know. I was talking to this drummer recently, an older guy. He's like in his 60s now. He's been drumming for a really long time, and he's very, very good. His name is Simon Barker, Australian drummer. And he was talking about developing a whole new style of drumming that he decided was, and whether it's new or not is not important, but it was new to him. And it was new to him in the way where he like felt like it was entirely coming out of him. Every single thing that he was doing gesturally was like entirely authentic to himself. And
It was avoiding imitation.
that was the idea. Yeah. So just like sort of like deliberately avoiding influences. And of course he had
Like consciously, like I'm not going to channel that person.
That's right. Yeah.
Not going to appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, sure. To use the parlance of our times. And so he started with the idea of he's a runner. He's a barefoot runner. And so he's like, well, I'm a barefoot runner, so this seems like, while it's arbitrary, it's something that feels authentic to me, and this is going to ground how I think about the drum set. And so everything is going to be right, left. But then I also have this thing where I really like it feels really good to me to hit two drums at the same time. And so how do I blend this right, left with this hitting two drums at the same time? And he came up with this like very elaborate way of flamming. For you drummers out there, that's just, I mean, for drummers will know what I'm talking about, and they can explain it to their friends. And it's a wholly unique sound. I've never heard a drummer like this. And the way that he improvises and the way that he moves around the kit is fascinating. It's truly unique and authentic to him. And it all started from this place of like feeling, which I think is interesting. And I think it's a really profound and developed way example of what we all as artists do.
I especially like the just like deliberately being like, I'm not gonna try to imitate anything. I'm just gonna do like you start playing something, and if it remotely sounds like something you already hear, you're like, nope.
Well, yeah, and this is what he would do. And he would like, every time he would try and like sit down at his drum kit, he would say like, okay, like this has to feel exactly like me, otherwise I'm not going to play it.
Right.
And so, yeah, he would deliberately stop himself when he was like in his practice sessions. And he would say like, okay, now I'm like working on this idea. And every single idea that he would like try and bring into his playing, he was like, give it 7 years. Because it's going to take that long for it to like really find its way in. Which is like a super intense way of doing it. And I don't necessarily recommend that, but like, it's interesting.
Cool perspective.
I mean, I think one of the tensions that a lot of artists feel is between, influence and authenticity, and it's hard to disentangle the two.
The people are pushing you in different directions, always depending on who you're talking to as well. Like management and labels will say one thing, band members and hired guns.
I just want someone to tell me what to do, honestly.
Yeah, but they will never say the same thing because it's not like a black and white thing. It's at all. Like it's what worked for one band would never work for another band. And it's a lot of times just time and place and luck. But I think forcing a round or something into a square peg. yeah, you know the fucking colloquialism. I think it's never the right idea.
Sounds suggestive when you say it.
Yeah, I think that's a you problem. Yeah, it's just never the right way to approach art though.
I've nothing shoved up there. So. I mean, I think I mean, you have the problem with labels, but you also have an internal dialogue, much like this musician probably did, because before you were in the bathroom, Sam was just talking about this musician who was, in some sense, trying to resist his own inner voice to imitate other artists. But I don't know that you can entirely do it. I mean, Courtney was talking about how she connected with that particular moment on Postcard. But I mean, I'd heard someone else use that trick before, and I mean, I think it's a real struggle that I think a lot of musicians face. But this tension between authenticity and influence, I don't know that you ever will entirely work it out. You can't. Embrace one fully at the expense of the other. When you tell yourself you're embracing one, you're probably also in some way always bringing in the other, unless you're just totally artificial and synthetic and completely acting in bad faith. Because even when you tell yourself you're being authentic, at the end of the day, you are still a cultured. You were socialized in your time.
You're always already operating in a cultural context, and you like have heard certain things that will like necessarily find their way into your music, and they will. It's like. You can't and you've read certain books and write lyrics according to a certain disposition, and all of that is going to just happen.
I mean, I'm obsessed with. I mean, you mentioned some of these, hip hop pieces in our music that's mostly comes from Kevin and him playing drums on the record. It sounds a little different live, but melodically speaking, Courtney's talking about these sort of like classical elements. It's because I studied Baroque counterpoint and, being an art school jerk. But it's funny because the Baroque counterpoint describes as a system we learn, and I didn't go to music school, but people who do learn that system, and it describes the language of Baroque music. But at the time, they were just doing this music. They weren't, they weren't learning species counterpoint. They were just expressing themselves naturally in this language. What am I trying to get at? Well, that there's within music there are always formal elements. And you can learn them and absorb them, but most people just don't naturally in our era speak in Baroque counterpoint. You have to study that. So if you're in a given historical moment, you're just going to kind of speak in the language of that era intuitively. But that doesn't mean that Bach wasn't channeling musicians around him or influences around him. So the idea that you could ever just have a pure gesture to me is false. But I mean, I'm also attracted to eclecticism because I think there's something sincere and authentic in being pluralistic and being eclectic. That's my pretentious answer.
I think that's spot on. Because, there's so much music history, so much shit that's happened that you hear throughout your entire life. Everything you heard was influenced by what came before it. And so you can never just, get to this pure space where there's, no influence.
That's sort of really... You can't be inauthentic. That's not to say there aren't instances of appropriation that ring hollow and that are maybe even problematic, and I think... every artist, if they're responsible and conscientious, struggles with that.
Well, it's sort of a weird question too. Like, so much art has been made by deliberately copying other artists.
Yeah. Or sampling them.
But I think that's a different thing.
Definitely.
To be honest, but is that a disingenuous act to be deliberately? Like, I remember, oh God, who was it? Pete Doherty, the singer.
Didn't he date Amy Winehouse?
Yeah. I remember reading an interview with him, and he was talking about I can't remember the name of the band that he was in, but he was talking about his songwriting process, and he was like, "Yeah, I basically just ripped off this Motown song that I."
Oasis openly says they ripped off the Beatles.
And this is a really, really common thing. Of course, it's a really common thing, and so many people do it.
Yeah.
Of course, in time.
Paul McCartney once said we were the biggest knickers around.
Yeah.
We're always stealing from people.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And so, is that disingenuous? Even being so deliberate in your influences that you're just I'm going to try and write a song exactly like this other song.
Definitely. I don't think so, but it would depend on who you ask.
I don't know. I think it really depends.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it depends on if it's good or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But it's just you can't avoid being influenced by things when you create art, you also can't avoid your own self seeping into it in some way.
Well, that's
it's always going to be a combination of your influences and what you're bringing as your own unique voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you just make shit.
Yeah.
And there's a million ways to do it.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you for being here with us during our.
I'm getting tired and sleepy.
I think
My
that
need for
is-
another cold brewski grows.
No, I do think it's a good place to end it.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, Courtney, Conrad, Bluebloods. Thanks
Thanks
so
so
much.
much.
Thanks for letting us
You've
yap professionally.
Listen to another episode of In the Zone.
Yeah.
Period.
Like,
And
comment, subscribe.
Like, comment,
Give him the
subscribe.
Casey Kasem.
Smash that like button.
Period.
Yeah, smash that like button.
Pulverize that.
That
like
was more of the
button.
Jake Paul than the Casey Kasem, but I'll take it.
Okay,
Okay,
cheers.
bye.
Thanks for having us. Thank you. Bye.